Good afternoon. Today I'm talking to Pauline Morgan. Hiya, Pauline. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, Donna. I'm originally from Northern Ireland and I lived in England for quite a few years. And I've recently returned just 6 years ago, next month, back to Northern Ireland, to a small village. And I'm married. I've got one son, two stepchildren, and not great grandchildren yet, but I've got two step grandkids as well, and a husband, and a house full of animals. And I write women's fiction, and so I've been doing that I've been writing for approximately over 20 odd years, but it's only in the last year and a half that my writing has really progressed forward, and through joining online writing groups and connecting with like-minded people with writing associations. And my recent writing group was where I really stepped up my game of writing, and hence the book that's coming out on Friday,
Which is?
The Ballynoon Friendship Circle. And I've got a little, I don't know, can you see that okay? Yeah, it's a little photo frame cover of what the book will look like. And it's been great fun in writing it, putting it together. I've really enjoyed it, and I hope people will enjoy reading it, so it'll be really good. Yeah.
And do you just want to give us a brief outline of what it's about?
Yeah, it's basically about a woman who's decided to relocate back to Northern Ireland. She's a widow. She's in her early 50s. She's a retired teacher, and her husband recently, about a year into the storyline, had passed away. So there was a lot going on around her. I don't want to give too much away, but I'll give a little brief. So Edel Marsden arrives back into the Ballynoon village, and she decides that she wants to create a new life around her. And we all know postmen are a great form of information. So the local postman informs her that not too far from her is a wonderful over 50s group, and she should pop down and make friends. So on the day of her heading down to the village hall, she had an incident with a not so nice guy, and it really kind of left her feeling unnervous. So she gets into the village hall and she learns a little bit more about the guy who she had the incident with, and she's found out that that's her neighbor. So the more she's listening through the gossip through these ladies, and these ladies thrive in gossip. And there is one particular phrase. Would you like me to tell you what the phrase that we in these ladies? We call them the Stitch and Bitch Club. And while they're knitting and stitching, they're bitching about everything. So Edel's quickly caught on about these ladies, but at the same time, she's lonely. She knows nobody, so she's really desperate to make friends. So then there is another incident with this gentleman, and she realized that she owes her life to this guy. So things start to move on between and blossom and things like that. And then these ladies keep dropping hints that this gentleman or this guy has got like a lady friend, a floozy, and she's realizing they're talking about her. So it's very much, how can she have this wonderful budding, blossoming relationship, but then keep this sort of group of ladies who are gossiping all the time? So the book progresses forward, and I'm jumping bits here. There is one particular bit which is where the lady and the guy nearly gets caught kind of like romantically, and that really upsets Adele, and it's to the point that she's not sure whether she should continue with this guy Martin or what. But Martin comes with his own set of dark secrets, and Adele's got her set of dark secrets. So it's like, who's morally right and who's morally wrong, you know? So there's just wonderful events and wonderful experiences that go on throughout the book. I think the second last chapter, I think that's the winter ball, and that's when everything comes together. And I think everyone will enjoy that particular chapter because it is brilliant. Well, I say it's brilliant, but it's one where there's a lot of fun and there's a lot of little innuendos where people will think back to their teenage days, like dancing around handbags and things, and you know, with the DJ and that. So it's quite a fun book. It's a book that apparently, if you like Fern Britton's, Kitty Wilson or Nicola May's books, apparently my book is online with those. You know, it's very easy going because I don't do big words. I hit pick up a book, and if I see too many characters, too many big words, then I'm afraid I close the book. So I kept this in mind when I was writing this book. But I feel that because I've actually experienced the environment of being in an over 50s group, I think that, you know, with the ladies' characters, I think they come very close to the characters I've met on a daily basis. And I think that's why it kind of made it very easy for me. I had to be careful with some of the Northern Ireland slang words because I thought maybe my outer readers may not understand. So I was trying to keep a little bit authentic, but I had to be careful about, you know, how I worded situations. But I did mention the derriere, which I think everybody knows that's your bottom, you know. So there's some cracking little giggly moments that, you know, are great, you know, like Irish lace, meaning cobwebs, you know, and things like that. So yeah, so I think it's a bit of a fun read. I think it's one of those that if you're on a beach holiday, which hopefully we will all be able to do soon, or a staycation, you know, it's a very, very easy read, and it's one that could probably be read within a matter of 2 to 3 days if you're a fast reader, you know. But yeah, it's a fun book.
Yes, I've read it, so I know, and I completely agree with all of that.
Oh, thank you.
Did you always want to write?
I think yes. I think from the moment I was learning to write and do joined up writing, I remember my very first essay, you know, and then also I think at school I wasn't very outgoing with my writing. I was always one of those kids that would sit with the arm around, head down, you know, in case it sounded stupid or nobody would understand, you know, because my mind was very much connecting with, you know, how could I put it? I was always like thinking of stories and, you know, and characters and, you know, so my mind was always away with the fairies, as you would say, you know, because I was like forming all these things. And I'm always the person that needs to write down, you know, if you go out shopping, I have my list. I leave somebody a note telling them exactly where I'm going, what I'm doing. You know, I just love writing, you know. To be honest, I wouldn't be lonely because my head's full of characters and things of, you know, what's happening next, you know, in books. But yeah, no, I really, you know, I love writing. And I think it, like going back to the creative writing group I belong to, they started me with prompts, you know, like word prompts and photo prompts, and oh my God, I was hooked, you know. And I think that's where my mentor said, right, let's get you, you know, started off with these, let's get short stories. And she encouraged me to go and, you know, to approach magazines. Well, there was one magazine down based in Dublin. It's called Woman's Way. Unfortunately, they don't do the short stories anymore. But I had 4 short stories published with those, and 2 short stories published with it's an iconic magazine in in Southern Ireland, but sold all over the North Ireland zone. And I was lucky enough to be placed in their last Christmas annual, so that was lovely. And I actually got paid for those 2 stories, so that was brilliant. During the pandemic, I wrote a poem, and it got published on a site where the President of Ireland, Michael Higgins, he had a poem published there as well, so that was great. You know, and for another writing competition down south, and I was longlisted through the Playhouse in Derry, Londonderry. So that was great. So, you know, it's strange for over 20 odd years going through lots of rejections, and to suddenly, you know, within a space of a year and a half, you know, suddenly everything comes. It's great. Yeah.
And what made you suddenly decide to join the creative writing and actually sort of try and do it properly?
I belong to the first creative writing group was the Romantic Novelists Association. They have like a sister group called the New Writing Scheme. And funny enough, it was a girl on social media, an author, and she said, look, this is what I've been doing. And she then taught me about that. So I did that for about 4 to 5 years. And then with moving to Northern Ireland, relocating back here, my social media just kind of widened, and there was these local groups. And then a friend who's based in County Cork, she's an author of crime, and she told me about the writing group, which is the Writers, i.e. Writers Inc. And that's where it's a weekly, so it was great, you know what I mean. And they had a mentor that was 2 mentors, one focused on the writing and the other one focused on your mind, body and spirit. So if you were like feeling a little bit down and you couldn't get back into writing, she would give you exercises to do. And the other mentor that focused on the writing, she was critiquing your work practically each week. So it was great, and the feedback you got from the rest of the members in the group was tremendous, you know. So it was a lovely, close-knit family, and everyone, you know, urged everyone forward. And that's where I just progressed, you know, from down here up to here. So it was brilliant. It was a terrific platform to belong to, you know, and I would highly recommend them, or by joining, you know, something with a similar creative writing group, because to be honest, I wished I'd found something like that much more sooner. You know, I've been struggling. I can see where my earlier work was more like essay work and wasn't really, you know, whereas now I'm beginning to understand, you know, the showing, the telling, you know, first person, third person, although I still write in first person. But you know, it's great, you know, and it's it's a journey that, you know, I thoroughly enjoyed, you know, and rejections aren't that bad, to be honest. You just grow a thicker skin. But no, it makes you a better person, I think, you know. It's hard to understand, but unless you've been in that position, you know, it does. You know, you don't cry over them as much, you know what I mean? You just think, oh, well, another door will open, and it will open, and it does open, you know. So, yeah.
You always a big reader?
Yes, I do like reading, and I'm not a fast reader, you know. When I read, I can, you know, I can form the characters and I can get visions of what the characters are like, looking like, brilliant, you know, and I really put myself into it, you know. I have read a few manuscripts belonging to friendships, and so their genre is totally different to mine, like crime. I recently read one for a friend, and oh my god, it was amazing, you know. And even though it's not my genre, but her characters were just brilliant, you know. And I grew up on Catherine Cookston, you know, Maeve Binchley, and what was the other one? Jilly Cooper. But my earlier reads were like, you know, the Flambards, which was then made into a television program, you know. And but yeah, and even when I was studying at school, you know, Anna Green Gables, the Daria Van Frank, you know, all these books, you know what I mean, they have lasting effects on you, you know. And so it was really, really, you know, good. But I generally like things like say the Maeve Binchleys, and also Judy Finnegan. Oh, she wrote a stunning book, Eloise, very haunting, brilliant.
Yeah, I've read that, I think.
Yeah, and oh, just now names are going to slipping out of my head. There's one called The Island, and I think that Victoria Islop. That is a brilliant one. She's brought out a second one, which I haven't read yet. And I've read some of them. Is it Alan Partridge's? I've read one or two of his books, you know, so they're pretty good. And sometimes it's good to read like a man's point of view of writing a romantic-y kind of story. And yeah, Edwina Curry as well. I read one of hers, which was quite good. Claude Murphy, and hers, Marion King, the Boyles, you know. So, but I think as for other genres, like, you know, the historical side, I haven't really delved into much on that area, you know. But as long as it's not like say I'm fighting with words, or I'm fighting with the names, or too many characters that I have to start writing down who's who, so as I don't lose the plot of what's happening. So I'm fine, I enjoy it. I've got about 4 books stacked up by my bedside, you know. Well, one of them is Stephen King, because I love his books. So that's his writing book. So I pop in and out of it, you know, when I feel I need to have a little check of my writing. And but yeah.
If you were to be transported into your book, which character would you want to be friends with?
Crikey, which one? Oh, that's a hard one, because they're all gossipy. I think it would have to be Trisha, the farmer's wife, because she's very neutral, you know, and I love the way she walks around with her collars turned up. You know, very countrified. So I think it would have to be Trisha, you know, because she's living in a big house, and she's living out in the countryside, and she's very, very placid, and she doesn't like it when the ladies get gossipy. She kind of gets the tone to like lower it lower the tone a little bit, keep, on a daily basis, but not too much gossipy. But yeah, I think she's got to be the nicest one.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, you agree? Yeah. I don't think I could have chosen any of the others now, because they're all the same.
No. Yeah. I noticed that crafting was quite a big feature in the book. Is that something you do, or is it just something you wrote about?
No, I do. I do like crafting, like making the little lavender hearts and things like that. I have, it's at the other side of the room, but funny enough, a lady at the over 50s group has taught me how to do like embroidery, and so I've been doing like my husband's letter of his Christian name and my Christian name, and my sister had one for her birthday. So I do pick up skills. Crocheting, I was taught that earlier, and when I joined the second women's group, I was taught how to do, like, go back into the crocheting again, because I forgot the stitches. So they crochet squares for ladies. It's like ladies who are on the next level of moving out of their hostel areas, and when they're setting up into like putting their life back together, and they make a parcel up for them, and apparently the crochet blankets that get sent over to England to the hostels for the ladies is something of their own, and they treasure it because they've got nothing. So I kind of used the crochet blanket situation, but I've then put it into like dogs home, or like for the rehome of the greyhounds. But greyhounds is a massive big thing over here in Northern Ireland for the greyhound racing. So so there's little things like, which is true to form to Northern Ireland, that I've put into the book, and sort of things, to kind of make it very much to give people the inside of how these people live, and and what their lifestyles are like a little bit. And gossip is certainly one. And food as well. That did worry me, in case I put too much food into the story. But hey ho, they have to survive, if they're going to live another day to gossip.
Yeah, I knew about the greyhound problem as well, because I used to be friends with someone that rescued Irish greyhounds in this country. She used to work for the Greyhound Association, so yeah, she used to have dogs that had a leg missing and scarred and God knows, but yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, it was interesting. They were beautiful dogs, absolutely beautiful. Loved them when she used to walk them, except sometimes they used to go for my dogs. He's little.
Oh, right.
They had to be taught that he's not a rabbit. They can't chase him.
Where I originally come from, a little town called Lurgan, there's the famous dog, the Master McGrath, and so there's a lovely, I think it's bronze, which stands in the grounds of Lurgan Castle, Brownlow House, which is two names that they get called. But yeah, so that's very much, part of my roots. So that's a little bit of me in the book by putting the greyhounds in too. Yeah.
Are there any secret jokes or messages in there that only a few people will understand?
I think some of the ladies from my group would probably know the clapping of the hands, because the chairperson, the current chairperson of the ladies over 50s group, that's something that she does to get everyone's attention. So that is definitely one. And I think there's probably some other little ones. Oh yes, the old nudging of the arms, the elbows, or the look that'll go across the table. Yeah, Definitely, these are like little secret codes that they have, you know. And because I'm not from this particular area, the expression blow in is very much, you know, used, you know, so yeah, so that's they're quite quick on picking up on the blow ins. So that one is, and the talk that was given by the doctor, that was an actual talk that was given by one of the lady's relatives, I believe. So, but he wasn't a doctor. But yeah, and I think, yeah, I think one of my family members will pick up on the brace of pheasants that was hanging on the door. They will know who that was. So yeah, so there's lots of little kind of things in there that I think people will kind of, you know, recognize, and I hope they'll still be friends with me afterwards. But that's something I found, that because you're into writing, and especially because I love writing anything to do with Northern Ireland, you know, to do with the accents, the conversations. I was out shopping with my husband and we were in the supermarket, and I heard this conversation going on by two of the sales staff. And on my book that I have my, like I had my shopping list, I was there writing down snippets because I thought it's class, I must use it, you know, I'm sure I could use this expression in somewhere else, you know. So yeah, definitely a people watcher, and as soon as I hear just something of a sentence, I just have to write it down. So don't sit next to me. I might be writing something down. That is
yeah, noted.
Yeah, sorry.
So have any of your ladies from the group read it yet then, or have they got to wait until it's officially released?
One of the ladies read the first chapter. This is before it's been formatted again, and you know, a little bit been added to it. And even back then, she said, yes, she said, I would certainly buy this. And I had no idea that it was even going to be sent out anywhere. You know, it wasn't really at that ready stage, you know, to be sending it out. So they plagued me that much because they kept saying, what are you doing? Because sometimes I'd be writing, you know, when I was there. And so I said, no, here. And so I got it up on my phone and she was sitting reading it. And she thought, yeah, you know, I really would read this. And then at the other group, there's like a little book club. So one of the ladies there, she was saying, oh, I don't read books with like swear words in it. So I thought, oh, noted, no swear words. So I'm trying to like cater for everybody, you know, when you're writing and that. And so, yeah, so it was really good having these two groups that I could balance a form of like, for the manuscript, you know, like I could get a nice equal balance, what I say equal, but you know, what people like, what they don't like, and try and put it together, you know. And but yeah, so hopefully the truth will be Friday when the book comes out, whether it's Marmite or not Marmite, but yeah, you know, so it's hard to let go of it being your book, you know, because obviously every author loves her book or his book, you know, but I know, you know, it depends on what people's tastes are, you know, so.
Yeah, apparently a lot of, because I speak to a lot of authors, they say as soon as it's released into the world, it's not your book anymore. That's it. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs to everyone else.
Exactly.
It's a good way of looking at it, I suppose. Yeah, you have to let it go.
That's it. And just hope that the next sibling of writing is a little bit, you know, you've learned something, whatever. But everything I think you do with writing, you know, it is a learning curve. You can never say, that's it, I've got a book, I'm an author. No, you're still that L plate, you're still that learner, you know. And so I'll always be soaking up new knowledge, new information, and, you know, learning. I mean, I've just finished I was lucky to receive a bursary, you know, so I've just finished a 6-week online course. And you know, I feel like, oh gosh, I'm out in the big bad world again, you know. And it's like you're secure when you sit and talk to other writers. You do really feel secure. And now I've got to go out and do it all on my own, you know. So it's a strange pathway to be on, but a lovely one, you know. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Have you made lots of author friends?
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite friendly with a girl that writes for the Medical Mills and Boon, and we actually met not long after I arrived here in Northern Ireland. Another girl from the Romantic Novelists Association, she put the meeting together, and the three of us, we met at Dobie's, which isn't too far from my home and the other girls' home. So it was great chatting, and she gave us signed copies of her book, and she brought a folder of of information, you know, about plotting, planning, and, you know, and it was so lovely to sit and to talk. And also with social media now, with Zoom and things like that, and Skype, it's very easy to keep in contact with authors, you know. And I think because of when I put up that I'd got a publisher, and you had like authors, you know, who are like, you know, quite high up in the ratings, you know, in the sales ratings for their books, and they're like congratulating me, and I couldn't get my head around it, you know. I just feel so grateful, and I am very, very grateful for all this happening around me. And I find that it's a lovely support how someone like that could support a nobody, like, you know. So yeah, so it was amazing, you know, the support that this pathway takes you, you know, and gives you. But yeah, I mean, I did Marion Keys on Instagram. She did about 4 weeks of online writing course, and her, I mean, she's just amazing, and it was so easy to follow, and she put everything in like very, you know, there was no gray areas, it's this or this, you know, and it was so straightforward. And I thought, oh my God, you know, it's amazing the way she put it and describes things, and she's a lovely character herself, you know, she's brilliant. So yeah, I find that social media has opened up a much easier place to connect with writing, all forms of writing, you know, and so it is very good, yeah.
And if you had much feedback from readers so far?
Not at the moment, because tomorrow is when my blog tour starts, and so it'll be interesting, you know. I would presume that's when everything will be revealed, so it'll be up early tomorrow. Square eyes looking at the you know, the social media, but I have to get my food shopping, so so that'll have to wait. But yeah, so it'll be tomorrow. I'll probably I would imagine receive some feedback from the bloggers and things like that, you know. And so it'll be, yeah, it'll be good to see what the reactions will be.
Yeah, I'm on that sometime. I don't know, I've got a few coming up, so maybe, yeah, maybe Monday, I'm not sure.
Right. Lovely.
I should find out, actually. Zoe will shout at me.
Yeah,
It's a hard taskmaster.
it's amazing, like to have all these bloggers, you know, that's going to be sitting there and reading it, you know. And I tip my hat off to each and every one of you for doing it, you know, and because of the different genres and things like that. But it's great for people to have like an feedback, you know, so let a reader know, well, yes, it's for me, or no, it's not for me, or yes, I can, you know, let everyone know, you know, it's a great book, or, you know, give a viewpoint on it. So yeah, no, I think it's a great idea to have bloggers.
Yeah, so we'll make sure they're all in line and stuff. So yeah, you should start getting some lots of feedback actually the next few days.
Look forward to that then.
What's been your favourite moment so far of the whole journey since you started writing this book?
Oh, crikey. I think it's got to be receiving the email from the publisher. It arrived by tea time, and I saw that there was something on my phone, on my Hotmail. So I just said to him, "Here, read that." You know, thinking it was another rejection, and he goes, "Oh, they liked your chapters. They want to offer you a book deal." And I'm like, "What?" So I text it back and read it myself, and it was like, wow. It was just amazing, you know. Very hard to believe. It's like one of those, you don't know, who do I ring, who do I tell, you know, and then you calm down. So yeah, it was a very surreal moment, you know, to be offered a book. One of the best ones. Other than giving birth to my son. I better put that in. But no, it was very good.
If you were able to spend a day with any author, dead or alive, who would you spend the day with?
I think it's got to be Maeve Finchley. I think she would be brilliant. I think she would put my ladies in their corner. But yeah, I think she would be a terrific person, you know. I would say that she would give me a lot of advice, you know, and I think she would kind of like come across as a motherly person, you know. And I think, you know, she would be someone that you would really enjoy spending time with, you know. And I think we would share like opportunities of, you know, different plots and how we could, I think it'd be all writing talk, you know, and things like that. Forget about the world around us, you know. So yeah, I think she'd be really good.
What would you like to do when you're not writing?
I do watch telly. At the moment, we're catching up on lots of like Netflix and lots of stuff on Sky. And I do like my reality, you know, my housewives, because I think they could be future characters somewhere in my books, you know, at a later stage. So yeah, I do like that. The news, I kind of dip in out of, you know, but I don't constantly watch the news, you know what I mean? I want to have like brighter things in my life, if you know what I mean. But yeah, now and again, you know, the usual like soaps, you know, Emmerdale, definitely a big fan of Emmerdale, you know, things like that. And you know, yeah, I like to watch like crime stories, you know. I think watching them, I can really get into them, I can see the characters, see where they're acting out. And I do like a nice movie as well. You know, I do love watching the old movies, Pretty Woman, and you know,
Yeah, you can't go wrong with them. I've watched some of them so many times, and they just don't get
God, yeah. Yeah, no, I never get bored. And my all-time favorite is Lost Boys. You know, I think that's so iconic. I do love that movie. And each time I'm outside at night time and my wind chimes start to blow, I'm like, oh my God, quick girls, come on, time to come in. And the dogs. But, yeah, no, it's pretty good. Yeah.
If you were to invite 4 famous people to a dinner party, who would you invite?
Oh, crikey. This keeps changing who I'd like to invite. I don't know why, but I've just got Victoria Wood. I think she would be really good, and I think, you know, she would be great. Patrick Swayze, definitely. You know. And I think Graham Norton as well, because I think he can bitch, but he can also be funny with it, you know. He'd be really good. And let's see. Yeah, I think Marion Keyes as well. I think she'd be really good. So I think I'd be sitting with lovely, quirky people, you know, and I think the atmosphere would be full of laughter, you know, and I think the company would be really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be one I would like to come gate crash, actually. That sounds like loads of fun.
You're more than welcome.
Only one person has ever wanted me. That's it, just one person.
Oh.
And I'm not offended. That's fine.
No, you can come anytime at all, Donna.
This is why I have a reputation as being a stalker, so I'm just going to turn up anyway.
Might as well.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't really. Although there's an author called Alan Gorovan who lives in Ireland, so I'd quite like to meet him. So if I came over, then I'd just, you know, do a detour. I'd just travel around and meet all the Irish authors.
Yes, no problem at all. No problem at all. I'll put you in the attic. Make sure you don't come in the winter.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like the cold.
No.
Who was your first celebrity crush?
Oh, crikey. Now you've caught me on the hop. I think it's got to be, I'm really going to show my age. I think it was David Cassidy, around that sort of era, you know. I think he got lovely eyes, and I always watched the Partridge Family anyway, you know. So yeah. And Davy Jones out of the Monkees. I say I have to. There was never just one. I think I was keeping my options open. There would have been a few.
Both very popular choices, and not the first time that they've been mentioned. Yeah, both of them. Yeah, especially David Cassidy quite frequently actually comes up, so you weren't alone.
Yeah, no. I mean, he's just so lovely, you know. I'm trying to think now what his father's name was. He was famous too, David Cassidy's father. It keeps me behind it as well. So yeah.
Are you working on anything at the moment, and what's coming next for you?
I've just got my edits back from my freelance editor, who did a cracking first round edit on a lovely little story based in Spain, but I've chosen the character to come from Dublin, and she's lovely, and it's again women's fiction, and it's a lady on a journey. It's crossed between Educating Rita and, oh gosh, now the other name's gone out of my head. The one that talks to the wall. Oh gosh, that movie.
I know which one you mean as well, and I can't think what it is.
Brick Island one.
Yeah, Pauline. I've seen it loads of times as well.
Yeah. It's a lady again, you know, it's she's based in her 40s, and she's had this incredible journey sort of thing, you know, a husband not to trust, let her down, and now she's been offered a new lifeline to up sticks go to Spain, and she's got no money, but somehow money comes into her pathway, opportunities just roll on, and she's got this kind of I based him on Poldark, the guy, you know who I mean, Turner. Yeah. So when I look at when I'm writing about this character, I just see Poldark in front of me, and yeah. So she's totally in love with, well, not love them at the moment. I have got a psychic in that one, so with a predictive reading in that one. But yeah, it's again, it's lovely. So that just needs re-editing a few times, going over beta reader, you know. And then I've got a potential second part of the Ballynoon that could come out, but it depends on my publishers what they think about that. I'm also working on a Christmas story as well, based in Northern Ireland, to do with a pub.
Oh, cool. Shirley Valentine is the film.
Shirley Valentine.
It came to me, yeah.
Thank you. Shirley Valentine versus Educating Rita. So that's good. I don't have a dog in that one, but I've got a cat called Shamrock, a stray, which becomes her rehome cat. But yeah, so that's what I've got on the go at the moment. So pretty full on, you know, with the writing. So, you know, so that's good. Well, I say that's good. Yeah, I think it was good to have a freelance editor come on board, because he's male, and his, you know, his insight to the story was so incredible. And when he had finished it, he said, "Oh my God, reading your book has made me, I want to contact my nephew in Spain and go and have a holiday there with him." You know,
Aww.
because he said the way you describe things, and you know, he said, yeah, it really made me think I ought to be connecting with him, and you know, so that was good.
Oh yeah, that's really nice.
So yeah, but yeah, ideas are always popping, you know, in my mind. I seem to get ideas for titles, and then I kind of do a synopsis, and then from that I then plot out, and you know, and I have notebooks. Well, my friend who writes the medical Mills and Boon, she told us to, you know, put everything into a notebook. So I've got a collection of notebooks waiting to just have words put into them. So yeah.
Well, I don't think I have any more questions for you, unless you think there's anything I haven't asked you that you want to tell us.
No, I'm happy if you're happy, and I just want to say thank you very much for this, for the chance for the interview, and a big thank you to my publishers at Spellbound, and for Zoe of the Zoo Tours, blog tours, and a big thank you for everyone who's gone out and pre-ordered, and hopefully will be purchasing the book at a later stage, and for my family and my friendships, and for everyone who's helped me to get where I am today with my first book being published.
And you just want to show us again and tell us where we can find it and when it's out? Just remind us.
Yeah, that's the cover of the book, The Ballynoon Friendship Circle, and you can pre-order it on Amazon, and the book comes out on this Friday the 21st of May.
And where can people find out more about you?
I'm actually on Facebook, Pauline Morgan author, and I'm on Twitter as well, as Pauline Morgan, and on Instagram as Pauline Morgan author, aspiring author, I believe. And also I'm on LinkedIn as Pauline Morgan. I think my most of the profile pictures will probably have Ballymoon, the Ballymoon Friendship Circle logo. I think I've bombarded those social medias with them, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's it. Thank you very much.
And thank you for having me.